Grace and peace be with you on this day. So when was the last time you received a good foot massage? It's one of the small pleasures in life, isn't it? Well, one of the reasons it's so good, and biologically we may have already learned this, is that all of our nerve endings pass through our feet. And so consequently, a good foot massage will alleviate back problems, or it may even alleviate a headache. A good foot massage given in the right way will just make the day. As a child, my grandmother raised me, at least for the first 5 years of my life. And it was really, really a blessing to be raised by her. She taught me how to give a foot massage. And of course, I had to practice on her. And so she taught me how to get my little fingers into the arch of her feet and how to pull those toes until they popped and how to get the ankle and rotate it. And as a 4-year-old, I thought I was doing the best service in the world for that woman who was raising me. And my grandmother went ahead and bragged about my foot massaging skills to all of her friends. And before you knew it, the house was filled with elderly people coming in for my foot massage. I've got to tell you, the line of little old ladies went around the block. In today's scripture reading, Jesus is not receiving a foot massage. I want to be clear about that. But I kind of imagine that the woman that was there bathing his feet in some form or another must have massaged the top of his feet. There must have been some component of it, because it's like the only natural thing to do when you've got someone's foot in your hand. Tradition says that it was Mary Magdalene that did that foot washing. And again, there is no scriptural evidence to that point. But we link it because at the end of the passage, Luke is telling us how important women were to Jesus and to the following, and that it was not just 12 men that followed him around, but there were also women as part of the group of disciples. And Mary Magdalene was the first one to be mentioned. But the whole thing of Jesus getting a foot massage, it kind of makes sense. If you think about it, all the rocks and sharp stones that were in the area, as common as weeds in my yard. Aching feet back in those days must have been common as gray hair in the Allegro Retirement Center. No shoes ever had supports of the arch. And so the importance of the human touch on the feet was actually built into the hospitality. When you ever walked into someone's home, the feet had to be taken care of. It was not just a matter of small pleasures in life, but now it was a matter of survival. How your feet went, so did your life. And so when this woman walked into the dinner gathering, she walked in and didn't make much announcement, didn't really make much to do. She just went in behind Jesus and bathed his feet with her tears and used her hair and then perfumed his feet with alabaster. We get here much more than a foot massage. We get a gift that exceeds all other, and that is the gift of human touch, of giving without being asked, of providing a service in love and without boasting. And so when people went ahead and protested and found it to be inappropriate, Jesus put them in their place. And he told them how this gift was a gift of love, and that no matter how big or how righteous the host may be, this love is to be valued. In other words, he's putting together the intention in the heart. What is the condition of the heart of the person that is providing the gift? I want to go ahead and mark an important anniversary that just passed. 2 weeks ago marks my first year here among you as your associate pastor for program development. And I know that for many of you, it passed real fast, and for some other of you, it passed like really, really slowly. When I first got here, there was a marked difference between the life I had in Miami and the life that I'd been beginning here in St. Petersburg. And it was very evident in the rhythm. The rhythm of Miami and the rhythm of St. Pete are very different. And I was actually very surprised and very pleasantly surprised to find out how willing I was able to enter into the new rhythm here. And I found that in this new rhythm, I now had time to listen to National Public Radio. On Saturday mornings, I could listen to Garrison Keillor. And then I found out that, again, on Sunday nights, Garrison Keillor was on. And I was like, wow, what a treat. In Miami, I couldn't do that. I found when I got here that this is the land of the perfect tan. There are so many women with this deep bronze that just glistens. I also found out that this is the land of college football. Like, college football is big. Notice that Keith even works it into his openings. College football was really not that big for me, and so I felt like a bit of a handicap because I didn't really know what the teams were called and who was who and what football thing is. So consequently, I had to incorporate it into my learning. This was my first year, and it's basically a year of learning who is who and what is what. It was a year of taking notes. Many of you saw me at meetings and at classroom gatherings and so forth, writing down notes and putting down all my observations for the day so I could study it and then get assimilated into the life of the church much faster. And so I want to share with you some of these notes. I was actually not too long ago cleaning my desk, and I came across notes from back in those days. And this is in November, around November 11th, Veterans Day. I wrote down, Keith keeps on giving thanks to the Huskers. Must find out what is a Husker. Today I met 7 women named Sandy, all very tanned. I cannot tell them apart. I met 7 men named Dave. Easier to tell them apart. One Dave is like this and the other one is... Got to dress like a native. Go shopping at Walmart. Got to teach Bill Maine how to say my name. He used to say Guillermo. Snowbirds arrived, crying about the golden gophers. Got to find out why Keith was so happy. That's a football team, for those of you who are like me and unaware. But it was a wonderful first year. It was the first year as I look at all my notes and as I remember back, it was actually a lot of fun. And it was most exciting and most gratifying for me to watch you take care of each other. This is a church where people have a genuine interest and concern for each other. There is compassion running through this church, and that is something that can be taught. There can be programs on it, but for the most part, it's very natural. It flowed from person to person. And like the woman in today's scripture reading, this compassion that you have for each other, you offer human touch. You give this gift without being asked to give it. And many of you have this service, a service in love and then without boasting. This is a caring church. And I was very, very pleased to see that as I came in. I also saw that it's a forgiving church. With so many people coming in from different parts of the world and so many different interests, I could see everybody forgiving each other. I could see the Golden Gopher forgiving the Husker, the Midwesterner forgiving the New Yorker, and everybody's forgiving the Canadians. Now, this is very important because on the surface, the church seems to be homogenous. But if you scratch a bit, you get to see how different we all are. That there are people here with different traditions and different worldviews, different ideologies. And that some of these differences create disagreement. But how we disagree is very important. And then I observed that the disagreements were always done in the spirit of love. And that regardless of the disagreement, people were still in community with each other. Now, this is very important because without respect, community is difficult to maintain. And it's like a common sense thing, but some people lack that common sense. But I found that I have to tell you is the one thing that stood out in my observations of the church. It's also a giving church. This church just loves to give, and your giving is tied to your compassion. To the refugees coming from Syria, or to the victims of the hurricane in Haiti, or if they stand up one Sunday and say, we need more for the St. Pete Free Clinic, before you know it, there's people giving. It's a community that also responds to healing. Healing and healing each other, because we all have some sort of brokenness. We all come from a broken place in one form or another, and I can tell that some people, their brokenness was very marked. A brokenness where you feel that you're being held together by wet tissue paper, and that at any one point you could just fall apart. But yet, with each other, with the hands that you hold, the way that you love each other, the brokenness becomes a strength. It becomes a mark of the community. And how we build community is very important. How we maintain in community is important. And this is, again, going back to the mysterious woman in the passage today. It's obvious that she was an outsider. It's obvious that she was not part of them, and that people even spoke about her in a derogatory way. But Jesus said, halt, stop. She's giving me a gift. This is out of love. And he included her into the community. And likewise, here we include the stranger. We include people that in other places may feel that they're not welcomed. That in other churches they may have been pushed away. And that in some form or another they have been rejected, either for who they are or for who they love. Yet here, they are welcomed all the way in. There are no barriers to them. It is not so much a foot massage that we give, but a soul massage. A massage of the soul to help that brokenness, to help that pain. And we're also a church that likes to prioritize. We don't sweat the small stuff. And I notice in this that the men of the church are very relaxed people that just walk among us. And I know it's not medication. But, you know, I come from a land that's a little bit more high-strung, and so all of a sudden I go, look, the steeple has a leak. The steeple has a leak. It's leaking. And I was kind of like all worried about it. You know, they said, relax. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get to it. And then the days passed and the weeks passed and another rainstorm came through and it leaked a little bit more. I go, listen, don't you know the steeple is leaking? They go, yeah, it's okay. Not a problem. They're just so relaxed, And I know that one of these days, it's eventually going to fall on Keith. But, they're very relaxed about it. Every once in a while, I am so glad that this church includes children and it has a structural purpose for children. Within the structure, I'm able to escape my adult world, my adult problems. And I go right through this door, and I sit right outside the door on a little bench. For those of you who have never been through there's a little bench. And the bench is across the way from the playground of the Montessori school. So when I'm tired of my adult noise that's all around me, I go and I sit out there, and I listen to the playground noise. And the playground noise is just delightful to me, to hear children speaking and playing with each other. It kind of puts me back in a certain center that it helps me remember what are truly the important things in life. And not too long ago, I heard a conversation between two kids. And I don't know if they were boys or girls because they both have this high-pitched, squeaky sound to them. But this was their conversation. One child said to the other, "Oh, come on, give me your stick. I want your stick." And the other said, "No, you can't have my stick. There's plenty of sticks around. Go get your own." She goes, "But I like your stick." And he goes, "But this is mine." And the other said, "But your stick is smooth and pretty." And the other one said, "Well, that's why I like it. That's why it's my stick. Go get your own stick." And she goes, "No, but I want your stick." All right. And then I couldn't hear what was happening after that, but then all of a sudden I realized that there was some serious consideration of what was being asked. And then the child with a stick said, "Okay, I'll give you my stick, but only if you promise not to hit me with it." And so one child shared a stick with another child, and they were able to continue on playing. But I thought to myself, you know what? Isn't that the definition of community? Isn't that the definition of our faith community? We enter through these doors, offering that which we have that is most dear to us, that which we truly identifies us for who we are, and we bring it here, and we feel safe knowing that you're not going to use it against us. That I bring my thoughts, I bring my words, I bring my ideology, and you're not going to hit me with it. And that I can bring all that I am, all who I am, and you're not going to hit me with it. It is safe in this sanctuary. It is safe for all people. And so when we say no matter who you are or where you are in your journey of life, you are welcome here, because I know that people can come as they are, bring their sexual identity, bring their partners, bring their life, and it will be accepted and embraced, and it won't be turned around on them. I have to tell you that sense of community really, really hit me at the Easter sunrise service. Raise your hand if you were at the Easter sunrise service. Okay, for those of you who do not want to get up for a sunrise service, this might be the one time that you do. The Easter sunrise service just blew me away. Completely blew me away. Now, you have to know that I've done plenty of church. I have been to many, many Easter services and sunrise services at that. But here there was something very special. It just swept right over me, and I know that it swept over the people there as well. And I'm not talking about the thousands of people that were there. I'm not talking about the wonderful music that was being played and the wonderful sermon. It's everything put together. And allow me to make the comparison. I felt that I was being given a gift of human touch, of service being provided for me that I didn't ask for. A service that was given to me in love and without boasting. I was being given a soul massage. And that's when I felt the sacredness. That's when the sacredness kind of like became real for me. That's why we read today from Maya Angelou, because it's a sacredness that is not just liturgical. It's not just coming from the altar down to you. It's a sacredness that comes back to us. It's a sacredness that makes a full circle. And that we realize that everyone and everything is sacred. And so this has been my year at Pass-A-Grille Church. And in the spirit of Garrison Keeler, I want to say that as from Pass-A-Grille Church, where the women are bronzed, the men are relaxed, the children are kind-hearted, and where church is sacred. Amen. Amen.